Hey guys, so I recently started getting back into microcontroller stuff, and I wanted to show you a project that I'm working on. Let's flip the camera on and I'll show you. Hang on. All right, guys, so here is my project. So this is a ESP32 and an audio amp, I2S audio amp, a rotary encoder, and an LCD, one just like this one. So obviously, plug this thing in here. It just says connecting to Wi-Fi. We're obviously not at my house, so it's not going to connect. But then I had the idea, take all this kind of stuff and put it into an old-timey, radio or whatever. This one happens to be a basically a CB or a walkie-talkie. And what I did is I already started undoing it and opening it up. What we're going to do is we're going to gut most of this stuff and put this in. But one of the cool things is that this whole thing comes apart. I'm actually going to save the batteries. We're not doing anything with them. They're still pretty cool and they're old. But what I already did is I started disassembling some of this already. And what I want to do is I want to save this talk button. It's a momentary, and we have this really cool volume knob. You see this? It says off. There's a switch, and then a volume. So instead of the rotary encoder, I'm just going to have to use the potentiometer in here. But so I already started taking some of this apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this out. Right now, this is just plastic with leather wrapped around it. So that'll make it pretty easy to modify. You can see there's like all these little micro holes. This is from 1965. It's a pretty old radio, but I got it for $10 on eBay. It didn't have the mate, so it made kind of sense to just snack it up, and we'll make this fit in here. So one of the things is that I really like this switch. Look at this cool old mechanical switch. You guys see that? Look at that thing. Anyways, so we've got that, and that's actually pretty simple. I think from like these two terminals is a momentary push button. We're gonna basically have to save this board because it fits inside of here so nice, and gets everything in the right place. So that's not a big deal. Like I said, we will pull this apart. There. Okay. And also the switch. Now, there you can see here I've got, these are like the 3 wires coming from the potentiometer. We'll just take this knob off and I can put new wires on or whatever. And then the switch is this red wire and this black wire, I believe. Again, when I took this off already, and I looked and I ohmed it out and everything. So the big thing is just removing the rest of these like components. My idea being, I'm not sure we're going to be able to put. I did have a where is it here? Where I put that speaker? I got a lot of stuff, guys. Here it is. So I had one of these. Speakers, but it pretty much like fits here, but this isn't gonna fit in here. I mean, if we like cut the bottom of the circuit board off, I suppose, maybe. I don't know. If you look at it, I mean, maybe. Gee, maybe. But instead of that, I thought we would use this guy. This will fit. If we remove all these components, it looks like, you see, there'll be enough room. If this just sits on the board, if this is just sitting here, we'll remove all this stuff and that'll be sitting there. And then, we got to decide, well, what about the LCD? And I was like, well, there's 2 places. Well, so I was thinking, up here, and I'm like, nah, I don't really like that. I like it over here. Look at that. It's like the same width. We just got to make a hole for the pins, right? So either here. I was also thinking, you know, also right here, we cover that up, you know. Although I've got this cool switch here, right? It looks like it might be the same size. We come in there, how cool would that be? And it's kind of got that retro look, like, you know, I think, like, either we got a couple of modes. We've got we're already got the volume and the switch for the power up here, but this button here is a mute, so you can mute it at any time, and then the button on the rotary is a change the channel button. So I was thinking this one would be pretty cool to like change the channel, the talk button, and then maybe this one would be the mute, right? This be kind of sticking out like that. So if we do that, you know, maybe we just put the LCD over here. You know, we look where we're at. We may have some room. We might, you know, it'd be better on this side because we have more room over here. That's why I was thinking, like, you know, we can maybe put it a little higher or lower, something like that. Maybe we put it there. But anyways, the point is that we need to figure out where we're going to start sticking all this stuff. The first step was for me to remove the components. So that's what I'm going to do. Oh, one more thing. I've got a LiPo battery, right? I might get a bigger one, but we got this little 1100 milliamp hour guy, and I was thinking, you know, we just put this back here, you'd never see it. So it looks like, you know, it looks like it's still running on AA's, but in fact we're running on LiPo. And then this battery, I got these little LiPo charge controller guys. So you can put the battery here, and then you get 5 volts out, which we can use to power our electronics and stuff. And you know, you got a USB-C port. I was thinking of putting it somewhere like over here. When this thing is closed, it'd be kind of just sticking it over here. So when you want to charge it, you just lift this up and you plug your cord in, right? And then it charges the battery and whatnot. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty neat idea. We're just kind of hiding it. We're making it still look old. Some of the stuff I may keep there, you know, but the first thing to do is start pulling off some of these components. So I'm going to do that. I'll bring you back when, you know, I have some of the stuff cleared off, and I'll show you what we're left with. All right, after a few minutes, here's what we're left with. Yikes. Like I said, ooh, it's still hot under there. This will give us room for like our speaker right here. See? Like that. It's just about everything's all just about the right size. I figured maybe the micro can kind of go right over here somewhere, you know? And we'll find a spot for the amplifier and whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and clean this board up, and you know, we'll check it all out. Now, I think what I'll do is I'll save some of these pieces, and depending on what's going on, you know, may or may not keep some of these pieces. You know, I'll cut down the capsule, just kind of like glue them in place or something. Anyways, let me clean this up. We'll figure it out, and then I'll bring you back when I sort of have an idea. Wow. That was amazing, guys. Good thing I wear glasses. I don't know how that happened. this end shot off and the spray came back in my face. Nice. All right, so here's what I kind of came up with. You can see, look how, there's a hole there for the speaker, at least for the sound to come through. All right, and then up here, got enough room for our ESP32. I'm gonna have to do something to, make sure the pins don't touch. I might solder my wires, all my wires from the top too. So I just need this to put some plastic down. Maybe I can make a little plastic sheet, or maybe I can make something for maybe I can 3D print something to plug this into, so it can just kind of be parked there. And then where'd I put the display? I just had it. Here it is. Like I said, we got our display. I think there's more room over here, right over here for it, which would put it, somewhere right over there. I think that blends in pretty cool. Then we have our, like I said, our red button to be sticking out of there. I think that's underneath. I think that's underneath this board. We'll get it to fit. We'll definitely get everything to fit. Like I said, we got our battery. So the next step is, let me find to see if I can print something to hold this, and then we just start mocking it up. Trust me, I got way more of this stuff. I'm gonna have to, like I said, we'll integrate that potentiometer. I kind of want to test this before I just, build it all in there. We'll get this working. So I'll have to finish that part of it up at home. But the big thing was gutting this thing out and getting it ready to accept the new electronics and a new lease on life. All right, guys, we'll see you the next time that I pull this out, which is probably gonna be at home or something. I'll work on it. See ya.